take you down.
So you don't know anymore who's really good? Because the media can make a wicked man look good and make a good man look evil. That is why.
I can't quit. I'm like Saddam, keeping my eye on Clinton, watching each movie make. Cause every slither he takes sort of reminds.
Y'all still black in Colorado, huh? It's my test. I got my black test that I do. It's hard being black in Colorado. Now, I mean, it used to be hard. Now it's very difficult. You know how there's some stuff I want to say. So I've been in these groups lately, and I just landed in this post-racial America, and it's confusing. So sometimes I say things that I used to say when I was black, even around white people. But now I'm confused, Lenora. I saw Santa Claus.
Come on, bro.
No, it's a good thing. See, this is why I'm confused, Roger, because some of the stuff I say, it sounds strange in this post-racial society. But the little white kids wouldn't sit on the black Santa's lap. I was kind of tickled. Oh, man. And you know,
nobody told me it's post-racial.
See, this is healing for me, Dean will tell you, because I had these stomach pains, you know, and this gentrification is just killing me. Some of y'all, it's cool, it's normal, but I need a black haven. You know, sometimes you just want to go in a room and listen to some Aretha Franklin, some Luther, some Marvin Gaye, some Nas. I'll even take some Plies, some NWA, you know, some gangster rap. But it seems strange these days. People think I'm not participating. I am participating. I mean, you know, I want to see our community grow and flourish and thrive. But at the same time, I want to see black folks there when it's growing and thriving. Because I go to Cherry Creek, be with real rich white folks. I'm going to stop right now because some of y'all think I'm hating. You know, I don't get the memos, I ain't on the A-list. Stuff just happen around me, you know. That's why I read the Denver Weekly News.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I am an avid reader of the Denver Weekly News. Y'all should give Lenore a round of applause. This is a black newspaper. When I look at the cover, it says, Black Farmers. Black Farmers. You know, I want to look over to something and say, black. You know, and I don't mind any other, you know, I love other people having stuff, but I like to share with other stuff and other people as long as I have something of my own to share with. Because I was raised black. So I'm not being offensive. I'm not discounting anything that's happening, but Colorado's feeling real white to me these days. And I can feel it. See, some of y'all don't know, but I grew up here. I'm a native. I grew up in a state that was 3% black, but my community was 99% black. So I know what it's like to have black newspapers, black dentists, black grocery stores, you know, it was a black roller skating rinks, black radio station. You know, I seen all of that, you know, black business. And now with the generation of children who grew up that never seen any of that, and maybe it's not important to them. But just because they don't know it doesn't mean that I'm not going to stop talking about it. Keep reminding them. And so tonight, it's okay to be 100% black up in here. You can. Even if you're white, you can be black in here tonight. You can. That's offensive to you. We gonna still be black. Because everybody in here, I know you. Y'all the black people. There's nothing, you know y'all didn't see Richard Muhammad got scared. Said, I can't go in there. But anyway, we have a special guest. I want to introduce him, and we're going to have some special food. First, I want to thank the organizations, particularly again, Lenora from the Denver Weekly News for making this event possible, because we learned about it in this paper, right? So one more round of applause for Lenora. Thank you. And we're going to keep celebrating this. I am. I'm going to keep celebrating, because this is my newspaper. Okay? And then I want to thank the organizations also that are present. I see some members of the Inner Light Center are here. Welcome you all. Inner Light Center, give them a round of applause. Sankofa Healing Arts Collective, they're here in the house. The Nation of Islam. I know the Nation of Islam. People that I'm forgetting, but I'm not going to forget Afante is in the house. So, welcome everybody. When you're reading articles and you are seeing articles written by Roger Clendon, Roger's right here. Give him a round of applause. There's Roger. Say that again.
Keeping them educated on the Denver public schools.
He's keeping them educated because they ain't keeping us educated. That's the problem. I'm just giving you some background about what you walked into. I know it's happening around the country, but you're in a neighborhood that they say is improving. And the places where our children used to play, they put dog parks. So now the kids have to compete with dogs to have our own space to play. Do I have a problem with that? Yes. They constantly tell us, Brother Richard, that they are interested in educating our community and our young people, and that education is the key. Yet, in our community, they close down all our schools, and they're working to close another one down. And they want you to go to meetings. They want you to talk about the new plan. They want you to talk about the new way we're going to educate children. But when they closed down Manual High School, and we were fighting around that, and they started doing all these experiments before they shut it down. We're just going to make it this school. Then we're going to make 3 schools on different levels. And then we're going to then they said we're going to close it down, which was a way to move the institutional knowledge out of that institution and start over. And we know how community pride is. These children were not going to leave their community and go to another school clear across town. And when you ask these same people what happened to those generations of students, they will tell you, I don't know. See, I'm just setting the context before Richard comes and talk to us about why we're here. Because if you're not serious about this, this is happening around us every day. Y'all remember East Village? And you remember the projects? We were there when they was talking about we're just going to do this Hope 6 project. And I was saying that means I hope 6 of y'all get back into your community after they finish doing what they're doing. You don't see no low-income housing all around this community. Where did those people go? So, with that said, the elders, I hope I wasn't offensive. I'm going to ask permission now if we can continue with the program. If I'm on punishment, I'll take the medicine. Sisters, can we continue? We always begin our programs here in remembrance of our ancestors, those who struggled and those who are no longer with us, because it's said that as long as we keep the names of our ancestors on our lips, they will never die. This is nothing spooky. And if it is spooky to you, it's all right. But this is an expression of respect. And the reason we pour water is because everything that's a friend of life finds itself coming to life and through life with water. You can't be an enemy of water. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to ask everyone to please stand where you're at this time. And we're going to take a moment to remember that there were those of us who remember that the origins of civilization began with people who look like us. People who came from the direct lineage, the original people, the original man, the original woman. Their descendants are standing here amongst us and we say Ashe.
Ashe.
They built great civilizations, and those civilizations can run off of our lips. They also were the fathers of medicine, mathematics, science, agriculture, and the like, and to that we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And we remember those who came over on the long boat ride. They call it the Ma'afa. They say 100 million of our ancestors are buried at the bottom of the Atlantic. And it was our ancestors that turned the sharks into meat-eating mammals. So we know the Atlantic has a graveyard as well for our ancestors, but we remember them tonight and we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And those who came to this so-called new world, which wasn't new to us, but we were here when they came. And when our ancestors came, those original people came, the ones that were worked from sun up to sundown, the ones that were dealing in the snatch row, the ones that were picking, chopping, and cutting, and building another civilization, a civilization that they were not to receive compensation for, but were to build for those who didn't know how to build for themselves. We remember them tonight and we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And those who said no more, we cannot take this anymore. In other words, when the time came to stand up, to wake up, to move forward, those who refused to sit down, and our ancestors said it was like the trees began to speak. People lost their mind when the original man and women stood up, stood strong, and looked those in the eyes and asserted their humanness. We remember them when we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And we do remember those great leaders, that Black Power movement, those that said, well, now we might just burn it down. We don't discount them any more than we discount the Mau Mau and the others that said we will resist by any means necessary. Remember them when we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And as we come to this very moment, this very time, in this so-called post-racial society where we're not to remember, we know that the greatest disrespect is to not remember. We remember in this moment and we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And as we remember, we call the names of those who knew, those who struggled, those whose shoulders we stand on. Call those names now.
Kwame Ture.
Call those
Huey P.
names.
Newton.
Fannie
Call the
Mae,
names.
Harriet
Martin
Call
Luther
the
King.
names. Call the
Sojourner
names.
Truth.
Malcolm X,
And to those
Jerry.
names we say Ashe.
Ashe.
Brothers and sisters, at this time it's my great privilege and honor to introduce you to a brother to all of us. Because the Final Call newspaper is another vessel
That's right.
that shares the truth about us, our people, throughout the diaspora. This is our paper. This is our vessel. And we have a mighty, wonderful brother who works for, in my opinion, the baddest black man on the planet.
That's right. Come on. That's right.
I mean, a man who's not talking truth to Denver public school system.
Come on.
He's not talking to the little gentrifiers. But the thing about your boss, and he is your boss, he speaks truth to presidents and rulers.
Right.
Says
right.
things like, don't worry, if you're scared to say it, sit down because it's my mission. I was born to say it.
Right.
It's this man who works for that man.
Come on.
And he's standing here tonight as our guest.
Thank you.
And we open up our doors, our humble abode, to Brother Richard Muhammad and we say Ashe. Brothers, put your hands together and welcome our dear brother, Brother Richard Brown. Salam alaikum.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I'm a little bit shorter than my brother, but I've always been short, so I just got to make adjustments as I go. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. And I bear witness regardless to land, language, or culture, we are one people.
That's right.
And I have to say that I have to thank Allah for a man who has impacted my life after being a student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was taught by a very special person, the person we say is a supreme being, Master Farah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And that man, of course, is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who has been to me the father that I never had,
Go ahead.
the leader that I always wanted,
Go ahead.
the example for those of us who have always desired to see our people free. And I just want to say to all of you, I'd like to greet you in the nation's great words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow, that sir.
Give Brother Jeff another warm round of applause. Because I have to say, if you all saw me going in and out of this little room, it wasn't because I was coming down on high. I was actually trying to find a back door, but there wasn't one. So since there wasn't one, I figured I would have to come out here and do my job. Please be seated. Thank you very much. I want to run down my list real quick. I want to thank Brother Jeff of Brother Jeff's Cultural Center. I want to thank Brother Herman Muhammad, who of the Final Call Newshour, who's also a great barber. So if you think I look good tonight, you can thank him. If you don't think I look good tonight, you can thank him anyway, because I looked a lot worse when I got in this chair. I want to thank Sister Lenora Alexander of the Denver Weekly News. Don't worry, sister, I'm not going to call you up so you don't have to hit through the door. I want to thank Student Minister Corey Muhammad of the local mosque here, and of course the brothers and sisters of the Nation of Islam. I think the Sankofa Healing Arts Center was already recognized, but I would like to recognize you again. I'd like to recognize a great journalist, Roger, it's Glendon? Glendon. I was educated in Baltimore Public Schools, brother, so you got part. The members of the Inner Light Center, which I think brother recognized. John Marsh of 100 Black Men and the African American Leadership Institute. And I really want to thank a brother who, I'm here because we were actually in Tampa for the Holy Day of Atonement, and we were talking, and I said, man, brother, I would really like to go some places and just kind of share some information I've been blessed to come into. And so the next thing I know, Brother Ansar was calling me, asking me, when did I want to come to Denver? What date was it? So I said yes, that I was late in sending the stuff to Sister Lenore at her newspaper. Then the brother booked my flight, and I said, no, you got to change it. So I know by the time I got finished, they was like, this Negro here, man. Maybe he needs to just stay in Chicago. But I really thank them for putting up with me, and I thank you for coming out tonight, because there are many places that you could have been. I'm sure you have busy lives and schedules and things that you need to do, want to do, ought to do. But I thank you for coming here tonight so that we can have a little bit of a conversation. See a few pictures and share a few words and some fellowship and begin to think and reflect, as we have often said, on the time and what must be done. We could talk about Brandy versus Bristol Palin and Dancing with the Stars. We could talk about Carmelo Anthony, my homeboy from Baltimore, whether or not he's going to be with the Nuggets and whether or not he's playing hard enough, or if he's just trying to get by until his contract runs out. We could even talk about the mayor and whether or not grass was cut as some rental property and what that means for the election. We could talk about any of those things, right? And that would really be important, in particular this Carmelo Anthony situation. That's really important to a lot of people. Especially the owners of the Denver Nuggets, right? The people who really make the money. But we're here tonight, brothers and sisters, to really hear about, and inshallah for me to share with you something about a place and a people and a cause that's grown to be very, very near and dear to me. And that is the situation in Haiti. Since October of 2009, I've been blessed to make 3 trips to Haiti. We started in October of 2009. The first trip, all of these trips have been with the Haiti Support Project, which is a black-led organization out of New York. So Brother Jeff said it's all right to be black tonight, so don't worry about it.
That's right. Go ahead.
October 2009, we went to Haiti. The whole idea was to be able to come back and to share progress being made in the first black republic in the Western Hemisphere. Little did we know that by January 2010, that this beloved country would be hit by such a devastating disaster, that hundreds of thousands of people would die, that the capital city would be virtually reduced to rubble, and that outlying cities around the country would also start to feel the pressure from people leaving Port-au-Prince, which is the capital, and it grown to about 4 million people now going back home to places that weren't necessarily ready for them. So, as we look at this situation, and as we look at a situation where billions have been pledged or promised to people who have yet to see the money, who have yet to feel the relief that they were promised. And a very wise man taught us, and a very divine book of wisdom tells us that the devil and the enemies of God only promise to disappoint. So for those who have made such promises to the brothers and sisters in Haiti, I'm not calling you a devil, I'm just saying check the book. Match up.
Say it.
I mean, when we walking down the street and they looking for a suspect, well actually any black man or woman will do, but usually they have a description. And you grab the suspect based on the description. So for those who have failed, are suffering people there, we have to ask them, who are you really? Why hate? We got enough problems already with the schools in Denver and gentrification, and the same plan is moving in Chicago right now.
That's right.
State Street Corridor in Chicago, well known for huge high-rises and public housing projects, gone. Other communities simply gone, wiped away, as this new gentrification and this new era comes in and we lose land. So why do they call us these different names? And we have been taught that we are called these different names so we will think that we are all what? Different.
That's right.
Even though we find ourselves in the same situation. Put in the same situation by the same people suffering from the same problems. They want us to think that we're all different. But sisters, if you have 4 children, and I managed to kidnap your children tonight and drop each of them in a different part of Denver, are they still your children?
That's right.
And even more, are they still brothers and sisters of one another?
Yes, sir.
So when we were ripped from the motherland and brought on that westward journey,
That's right.
and as millions of us died, as the Atlantic served as our burial ground, and as others jumped overboard and tossed children with them as they refused to continue to live in heaven. Right? Some got dropped off in the Caribbean.
Right.
Some got dropped off in Haiti. Some got dropped off in America, but we remain one nation, one people. How can you tell? I'm going to show you a picture a little later, and I want you to remind me to come back to that, because it's one of the things that struck me when I went to Haiti. So I've been working on this presentation all day. I'm not going to say a certain sister, Adiba Falami, messed me up, so she came to the coffee shop and started talking to me. So if anything is wrong, you can blame her. It's her fault. It's her fault. She did. But I want to start, and I want to try to do this in a way that makes sense, and in a way, hopefully, that will keep your interest, and in a way that when we leave, we will all have gained something from being here tonight, because I would really hate to waste your time. So my brother, give my brother here a warm round of applause. He's going to help me by PowerPoint. Let's go to the first slide, please. Thank you. This is a picture of the National Palace in Haiti. Beautiful building. This was taken in October of 2009. This is where the head of state resides, similar to the White House in the U.S., except this really is the Black House because this is the Black Republic. All right? Wonderful building. Huge structure. Beautiful. 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 Let's go to the next slide. I went with Ron Daniels of the Haiti Support Project out of New York. We had Warren Valentine, a radio host, with us. For the old school hip hop people in the audience, we had the Kango Kid from UTFO, or that famous ode to life, Roxanne, Roxanne.
Yeah, right.
This was taken on the steps of the National Palace. And the brother that you see here is the current president of Haiti, Rene Preval. He met with us for literally over an hour. A delegation of about 40 people. The Haiti Support Project does an annual pilgrimage to Haiti and has been working in Haiti for the past 15 years. I took my first trip to Haiti with them in 1995. Let's go to the next slide. Can you all see this? This was taken when we went back in February of 2010. After this, a month after this earthquake that devastated the city, the capital city, Port-au-Prince. Imagine this happening to the White House. What kind of impact would it have on the government? But this didn't just happen to the White House. Let's go to the next slide. It happened to the working office for the head of state. But not only did it happen there, let's go. And you see how it is totally destroyed. This is what happened to all of the governmental buildings and operations in Haiti. So imagine if there was a natural disaster in Washington, D.C., and the White House goes down, and the Department of Education goes down, and the Pentagon goes down, and the Department of Health and Human Services goes down, and the Department of Agriculture goes down. Every federal agency goes down. Imagine what would the situation be in America. But you're looking at little Haiti. Much less capacity, constantly fighting for her survival, being put in this situation. Government crippled, a government that was never fully supported in the first place. Let's go to the next slide. This is the airport. I don't know if you can see this, but Toussaint Louverture Airport, huge cracks. This is again in February. Huge cracks in buildings, walls, broken glass. Let's keep going. Of course, you had the U.S. Army on hand and the U.S. military to protect things and look after things and make sure everybody was okay. The question is, whose interests were they looking out for?
Right.
This was again in February. Let's go to the next slide. Again, just showing the damage done to the airport. The airport has improved a lot since then. A lot of repairs being made. A lot of good things happening. Let's go to the next slide. This is from a major cathedral in Haiti, downtown Port-au-Prince. When the earthquake struck, buildings literally tumbled and fell. And we've heard about the people and how they had to be dug out of these things. But Haiti shares a very special history. Very special history because when you go back to the founding of the country, if you think about 9/11 and the attack on the World Trade Center in New York, think about how the world has changed based on that one incident, right? Not just that America has changed, but the world has changed. Change has been dictated around the world in terms of security, how you travel through airports, and around the world, anybody can label anyone a terrorist in order to take care of this new and emerging threat, right? Well, imagine in the 19th century when black men and women rose up in Haiti, suffering under some of the most brutal slave conditions anywhere. The most brutal anywhere to be found, rose up. This not only shook the French colonists who owned the country, this shook Europe herself. If this spread, what would happen to the world economy? if this spread, if these black people start rising up around the world, if they see hope and the opportunity to bring real change and lasting change, what will it do to us? Christopher Columbus landed in Haiti first in 1492. And of course, Haiti is an island. One part was controlled by the French, right? Other part, the Dominican Republic, controlled by the Spanish. Some clashes between the French and the Spanish about who will own what. Eventually, the French win, and the French ultimately are overthrown. Let's go to the next slide. This is again downtown Port-au-Prince, where we see the devastation, so much rubble, questions about what do you do with all this stuff, let alone the health problems that you suffer from. People have lost their homes. Right now, still, almost a year after this tragedy, you have about 1.3, maybe 1.5 million people living in tents right now, still homeless. People who used to have homes. In a country that is very poor. But when I say that Haiti is very poor, it's like saying black people are very poor. It doesn't mean that the country doesn't have any wealth. Just like it doesn't mean that we don't have wealth. What it means is we don't benefit from the wealth that we have. So Haiti has resources, beautiful beaches, has the potential to grow food that can literally feed the whole Caribbean. Great historical sites, artwork, artisans. You can see Haitian art all around the world, music, vibrant culture. But since Haiti has not been able to control her own destiny, she's constantly been at odds. So when she got her independence from the French, she suffered from a blockade from the European powers until Haiti, which defeated the French, was forced to pay reparations to the French.
Right.
I don't think you heard.
Yes, come on.
Haiti, who beat Napoleon's army, the #1 army in the world, didn't just beat them, but whooped them back.
Right.
Like Muhammad Ali beat, I don't know who he beat really bad, like Joe Bugner, or like the Rumble in the Jungle where he just knocked out George Foreman after laying on the ropes for a while.
Right.
I mean, it was like Carmelo and the Nuggets versus the Denver High School All-Star. Whooped, forced them out of the country, but after winning, even the Europeans who have problems with one another came together because they saw Haiti as a common threat that needed to be addressed. Right. And so the U.S. was part of that, and part of a 60-year blockade of this country. Imagine that, 60 years, why are you blockading a little black country?
Right.
60 years, you got everything, you got a head start.
Come on.
What is so troubling to you about these? As we talked to the, when we were there, we met with the Minister for Reconstruction, Patrick Delatour, who was a Howard alum, in case there's any Howard graduates in here. I'm from Morgan State, but we won't get into that tonight. Last meeting. But Patrick Delatour talked about the ideas and the concepts of poverty in Haiti. He said we may be poor, essentially he said we may be poor in Haiti. He said, but we are a people who were once slaves. So our initial desire, our innate instinct is to be free. Right. So he said when we got free, we were 10, 20, 30, 40,000 Negroes running through the woods naked. He said we may still be 10, 20, 30, 40,000 Negroes running through the woods naked, but we are free.
Right.
So this is an example of the Haitian mindset, and with that mindset, now you become a threat to those that would want to control you. Right. One of the things that's very interesting about the first Haitian Constitution was that if you were black and made it there, you could be a citizen. Haiti helped Simon Bolivar and his efforts to free Latin America. He moved to Haiti when there was an attempt on his life in Jamaica. He was a great Latin American freedom fighter. Haiti helped him with money and with troops on one condition. Wherever you go, that you find people that are enslaved, you must free them. This is the Haitian spirit. So that spirit to people that want to control, dominate, that idea becomes very, very dangerous.
Right.
And that's the problem with a lot of y'all here. Y'all got that Haitian spirit because you just want to be free. You don't want to submit to anybody that will control you and dominate you. You want to be free to chart your own course. Let's go to the next slide. This is, of course, in, again, February, when they were still distributing food to people. Food distribution and access to food remains a problem today. When we were in Haiti in February, as part of this fact-finding delegation, we found that there was still problems with getting food. And the thing that struck me, brother, as you poured libation, is that literally we have people dying in Haiti because they can't have this.
That's right.
Literally, men, women, and children dying from cholera or waterborne disease because they can't have clean water. Despite all the billions of dollars raised, despite all the promises made, despite all the tears on TV, despite all of that, people don't have clean water to drink.
Come on.
And so they're dying. Let's go to the next slide. Again, Dr. Ron Daniels from the Haiti Support Project said if you can't get to the big motherland of Africa, go to Haiti. And you'll see the sisters carrying stuff on their heads, and that looked like some heavy pound sacks of rice they carried. But this was, again, food that was given away. Let's go to the next slide. The United Nations. The United Nations has been in Haiti for some time now. They came in after the first really democratically elected president, John Bertrand Aristide, was forced out of the country. And when he was forced out of the country, after Haiti was governed by this dictatorship, the Duvalier family, Papa Doc Duvalier, Baby Doc Duvalier, these were U.S. clients. These were people that were supported by the U.S. government. So their reign of Haiti goes back to 1957. But before 1957, now remember we started out talking about this 60-year blockade of Haiti, right? That's the first part. But then the U.S. occupied Haiti for another 19, almost 20 years. And they did road projects and reconstruction, but they also started to put in system some people. So that when they left, like a skunk, they would leave a scent behind.
Come on.
So they left, but they left a mindset and an idea and a loyalty where people were more connected to the U.S. than they were to the suffering of their own people. So the Duvalier started to rule from 1957. Papa Doc Duvalier rules until 1971. Very brutal. His son succeeds him. And his son is ousted in 1986 after protests. The country goes on. There's other presidents coming to power. You know, this is the 80s. You get into the boat people, where people fleeing from Haiti, their dead bodies are washing up on the floors and on the shores in Florida. But worse than that, in the 1980s, those who are blessed to make it are arrested and put into detention camps. I don't think you heard. The Cubans, a little bit lighter, a little bit whiter. The Cubans, once they set foot on U.S. soil, automatically asylum. The Haitians that look like me and you, automatic detention. Could it be that still there's a fear of this Haitian mindset, this fear of the spirit that longs to be free? So, by December of 1990, John Bertrand Aristide, a very outspoken, fiery priest, is elected. He's very popular with the masses of the people. He is elected. He forms a party, La Valace, which is the first time that the masses of the Haitians really had an opportunity to speak. He comes into office. So of course there's fighting between this man from the people and the elite that has ruled. Eventually he's ousted in a coup, first in 1991. He manages to come back. And in 1994, he returns to Haiti. He's supposed to complete his term of office. And he's already lost a couple years. He comes back. They force him to leave in 1996, basically another coup. He's forced into exile in South Africa where he is today. Rene Preval comes in, the brother we saw earlier, and Haiti again starts to try to move forward. Let's go to the next slide. Wait, let's go back. Can you go back? Thank you. When John Bertrand Aristide goes out, there's unrest. The UN is brought in. Their role is to be as peacekeepers. But from the beginning, there have been clashes between the UN and the Haitian people. And this is why, as we watch CNN, as we see the different news channels, it's very important that we understand the history behind so much of what we see. Some years ago, there were food riots in Haiti, and there were battles between the United Nations peacekeepers and the Haitian masters. Now, we've had this cholera outbreak. Haitians believe it is connected to a group of peacekeepers from Nepal and their inadequate handling of waste and sanitation from their camp. Research has been done that shows that the strain of cholera, which is a waterborne disease, causes dehydration, diarrhea, really is treatable under the right circumstances. But for an already suffering country and people, circumstances are already bad. So cholera breaks out, and it starts in a rural area near this base, and then it spreads from the rural areas into the city. Cap-Haitian in the north, eventually gets to Port-au-Prince, a little bit further south, which is the capital. So much of the clashes, if you've seen them on TV, and the burning tires and the Haitians with their machetes, you know, sugarcane is a crop. And you need a good machete to chop sugar cane. You might need it to chop something else, but we'll just say in this instance, you need a machete to chop some sugar cane.
Right.
And so as you see our brothers and sisters rising up against those who are supposedly keeping the peace, then understand this is because they believe that these people are responsible for the deaths of their brothers and sisters. And since they see themselves as connected, they see their lives as valuable. Because they understand that it could be your child today. It could be my child tomorrow. It could be your son today. It could be my son tomorrow. It could be me this afternoon, and it could be you in the morning. So we need to stop this. So this fight with the peacekeepers has been ongoing. So there's been some research that says that this strain of cholera is really Asian. They haven't said that it's not, some say it's not directly, you know, they can't trace it directly to the Nepalese soldiers. We believe it is an Asian strain. Yes, the Nepalese are the only Asian people over there, but, you know, we just don't know yet. It would really be interesting if black people got that same kind of benefit of the doubt. Right. Now, we don't know what black man robbed this person, so instead of taking anybody that look black, we want to just wait and try to find the right person.
Right.
Which we rarely find, unless Denver is a lot different from Chicago. Where any black person will do, 6'4", 230, they arrest me. Like, man, look, I'm only 5'5". How did I fit that description? So as we look, our brothers and sisters again in this continued fight with the peacekeepers now. Let's go to the next one. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
I need to speed this up. Y'all getting cold? Y'all ready for the food? Again, more devastation. I know what y'all ain't saying, so we're going to speed this up. More devastation in Haiti. Let's go to the next one. Again, I mean, this is one of the, again, huge cathedrals, because you know Haitians, Catholic Church, or the French, huge cathedrals, historic buildings, totally destroyed. This, of course, once the housing is destroyed, people need somewhere to stay. So they start to form these camps and tent communities, and this is one of them, which is across from the National Palace that we saw that was destroyed. This is one road. So when you see, well, you can't, I don't know if you can tell, but the sister here is selling candles and selling some other stuff over there. I mean, a little rum. Haitians, Haiti is some cigarettes. They're selling food and stuff too, but Haiti is well known for its rum. It's just a culture. Let's go to the next one. This is, again, you can see, I don't know if you can see in the background, you see the mountains. Haiti is a mountainous, hilly country. You also see the destroyed palace. In front of the palace, this is a tent community that's grown up on what was open, like an open plaza, right there, across from the destroyed National Palace. Again, what you can see, people have little stands set up. If you go to Haiti, you don't find people laying around with a cup saying, "Will you help me?"
Right.
These are very industrious, hardworking people that are trying to do absolutely all they can to help themselves.
Right.
So the question becomes, if they are doing all they can to help themselves, how is it that money and resources that is supposed to go to them have not arrived yet? Let's go to the next slide. This is the mother here with a beautiful baby and a tent. And if you have a tent like this, let's go to the next one. This is her again. You are considered lucky. Very lucky. Very, very lucky. Because so many people don't even have this. Let's go to the next one. This is a brother who was a medical student. And when we went to Haiti in February, he and another medical student were treating, go to the next slide, they were treating their own people. They had set up something of a clinic right there on the ground. And this is the type of thing that you do when you have some knowledge of who you are and you love yourself.
Right.
You don't wait for somebody to rescue you. You understand that it's incumbent upon you to rescue and serve yourself.
That's right.
These are the lessons, I think, that some people might be a little bit worried about being exported from Haiti and maybe dropping into the mind of the so-called American Negro.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Next slide. The brothers was even playing a little basketball. This is in February. Again, trying to bring about some semblance of normalcy.
Right.
And a very hostile, very, in a sense, life-threatening situation. This is in February. These are, again, the tents, but if you see up at the top, you see the flags. And wherever you go in Haiti, you will see them flying their flag. It's out of respect for who they are and a recognition that they are a sovereign people.
Right.
Let's go to the next slide. So I may be living in a tent, but again, 10,000 naked Negroes running through the woods.
Right.
We poor, but we are free.
That's right.
Little brother here, his mother was cooking. We came through the camp and had an opportunity to talk to some of the people there. Next slide. Again, tents. Haiti, of course, being in the Caribbean, very hot. Midday. I mean, imagine that you're in a tent. Very hot. Of course, when it rains, and Haiti has a very strong rain season, hurricane season, the water actually starts to weigh down the top of the tent. Now imagine, none of these communities were planned, right? So they weren't built on an incline where there would be runoff from the water.
Right.
Any available land was taken. So that means that in many of these instances, there is just ground, there's dirt underneath the people. So when that rain falls, you are literally walking in mud. When we went in October, it started raining. We were at a hotel that had like an open plaza. And the rain was just coming down. We just visited one of these tent communities. And when I looked at the rain that was flooding the plaza for the hotel, I thought, my God, what are people suffering that we have just been to see? Again, tents in this community. Again, every available open space taken. This was in February where this community was organized. They had organized themselves into quadrants and elected leaders. They were also responsible for their own security. This is when we went back in October of this year. We went back in, what month again? Okay, October. In October, we went back, same camp, much different conditions. Conditions were actually worse. Let's go to the next slide. We couldn't find the people that had been leading the camp when we were there in February. We couldn't find the medical students. We couldn't find some sisters that were part of the leadership committee. We couldn't find any of them. This here, can you hit that, cut out that light for 1 sec? Well, no, you record, so I guess we can't do it. But I want you to see, since we are talking about water, right? And we're talking about the necessity of water for life. So now you can see this, right?
Yes, sir.
So you all see the little boy at the tap?
Yes, sir.
And water's coming out, right?
Right.
The water was unfit to drink. This is in October, before cholera hit. Haiti also had not suffered from cholera. But they had put in water, but the water was unfit to drink. But since people can't afford to buy water, then what do? You drink it anyway.
That's right.
Thank you. Ready to turn the lights back on. Next slide. This is a brother, 50-year-old Haitian, who told me about how his 2 homes were destroyed and how no one was helping him. And he talked about an 80, 90-year-old woman who was suffering. And he said, and we put it in the editorial of the final call, so if you haven't got this edition, please feel free to get 5, 10, 15, whatever you
Come on.
The FOI will gladly help you.
Yeah,
And let's
sir.
give them a round of applause because if I was there,
Right.
I couldn't do what I did.
Come on.
So whenever you see these brothers, I mean, man, it is not just a signature program and an opportunity to resurrect our people. This is the #1 program in the nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
It carries the spiritual word. It carries the events. It helps to shape the minds and hearts of our people. And it keeps me working. And this is what allows us to be able to visit Haiti, to be able to come back and bring information. So get an FOI, another round of applause.
Yes, sir.
I'm always grateful to the brothers for what they do, because I have done it. It is very often a thankless task.
Yes, sir.
You can tell he's done it right now.
Yes, sir.
But the opportunity to bring life to your people is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
And when you have the opportunity to put a word into the hands of someone, you never know how that word may impact their lives.
Right.
This is what this brother told me. We don't get no food, no water, nothing. We are human beings. Please, somebody come and help. It's no reason for the people to be mistreated like this. I don't like the way they mistreat my people in this situation. Now, he's suffering personally. But he doesn't say, I'm suffering and it's bad. He says, I don't like the way they're mistreating my people in this situation.
Right. Sir.
So again, could it be that these ideas about unity and identity maybe is something that they don't want to be exported from Haiti to other black folks?
That's right.
He goes on to say, this situation is very bad. It's not good for nobody. No human being would like to live in this condition. Look where I'm sleeping in the rain, in the water, in the sun every day. No food to eat. They don't even have church in here. So very often when you see these portrayals of Haitians and its anger, you very seldom see the spirituality. Whether it is the indigenous religion that has been called voodoo or the Christian religion. Let's go to the next slide. So this is the case, and he talked about how a young man had been shot in the camp. Really very, very difficult conditions. This is again, people cooking outside, setting up little places to eat as well as to, because you don't have a house, you don't have no choice, right? Let's go to the next one. But again, despite everything, the Haitian spirit is indomitable. People carry on. Sister carrying bananas, somebody on buy.
That's right.
Go to the next slide. Again, you see young women, young ladies walking down the street, even though there's rubble everywhere, but you see that spirit, the smile, the warmth, you know? Back into the camps again, where people are trying to rebuild their lives and sustain themselves. Again, buildings we saw, not only did we see people, buildings like this, we saw people actually salvaging stuff from buildings. We went to the camp, I didn't have the picture, but one brother, when they gave him his tent, he went across the street and laid out a brick floor under his tent. You didn't hear me. There's a man with nothing.
Right.
Lost his house, lost his home, might have lost family members. They give the man a tent. He goes across the street and picks up bricks and puts a floor under his tent. That's the ingenuity of the Haitian people.
Right.
Again, see the brother with his hat turned backwards, trying to keep it going in the midst of the dust and the construction, all of this. This was again in February. Let's keep going. Interesting. Who is this man? Can we get the lights turned off for the next house? I'm not messing up here.
No, you good. You good. Yeah, you
All
good.
right.
It's showing up.
Nah, I'm just, now you ain't said nothing, y'all laugh. I mean, I wear glasses, but I don't see too much of a family resemblance here.
Right.
This was again in February, about a month after the earthquake. We saw, as we were leaving, and I was with a brother, Eddie Harris, who's a filmmaker, and Eddie and I were looking like, not only was it interesting to us that these Caucasian people were taking out these Haitian children, go to the next slide, please, but there were men.
Come on.
And we kept asking ourselves, why is it that these men are leaving with these babies? Now, the Haitian government, immediately after the earthquake, stopped adoption. So these are supposed to be adoptions that happened that were already in the pipeline. You may have heard about the Caucasian woman that came and started rounding up Haitian babies. You know, talking about she wanted to form an orphanage, and she took them out of Haiti into the Dominican Republic. Was trying to get them into the Dominican Republic. And some of the children was like, yo, hold on. The police stopped them. They was like, yo, wait. This ain't my mama. So the Haitian police, well, she said it in Creole though, right? So the Haitian police stopped this woman. Eventually she was locked up. Now, if you remember, there was a man who surfaced at one point, right? Mm-hmm. This man surfaced, said that he was a lawyer.
Right.
He went to the courthouse to help these people, these missionaries from Iowa, Montana, Idaho, somewhere like that. Somewhere where there ain't a lot of black people, I'm just saying.
Right.
I mean, it's just not a lot of black people out there. I think it might be a little bit like Denver. Y'all might have So this man shows up, and he's in front of the cameras, and he's an attorney. Then the next thing you know, they say this man is wanted for child trafficking.
Right.
There's a large witness. And they start asking him, look, are you the one in the wanted poster? No, what? That ain't me. Then he just disappears.
Right.
This man knew he was wanted. So you can ask yourself the question, if you know you're wanted internationally, his wife had already been arrested, he didn't go to help her. Why would you show up in Haiti, in this case, which has so much publicity, and is dealing with children, and you accuse of child trafficking? Was there some connection? I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying to me, I think, that's one of the things that I have yet to really figure out. There was a priest in Haiti, a man who was working there for many years out of Connecticut, affiliated with the university, who was on trial for abusing boys in Haiti. This award-winning person. And I'm not saying that people of whatever race can't have good motives. They certainly can. And the more responsible we are for one another, the less we lessen the opportunity that others will victimize us.
Right.
But our history also shows us that they don't show up telling you, let me make you a slave. They tell you, I'm going to give you more gold for your labor. That's what they tell us.
That's right.
You go put the lights back up again, brother.
Right.
That's what they tell us. So our history says that we need to carefully look into these outside saviors that never seem to exactly save us.
Right.
This is another camp. Let's go to the next slide. Girls' camp in Haiti. Again, this is a camp run by a gentleman by the name of Lionel Persoir, who is Haitian. And what they have a number of girls living here. This is a tent. It's like an old, let's go to the next slide. Beautiful young girls. The youngest was about, I don't know, maybe 4. The oldest was about 19. They're all orphans. Either because their parents have died or because the parents simply cannot afford to take care of them. And so since they cannot afford to take care of them, they have let them go hoping they can be in better circumstances. Now imagine the trauma of that on these young girls. But imagine what must the trauma be on a mother or a father.
Right.
When you have to give up your baby because you don't feel that you can take care of it.
Right.
So these, as we look at these dynamics, as we hear these stories about Haitians just giving their children away.
Right.
No, it's a lot deeper than that.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the next slide. This is Lionel Persoir, businessman, tour operator, restaurateur, does a little bit of everything. He was also locked up at one point under the Duvalier regime. This is, I think, the youngest girl in the camp. She's about 4. Go to the next one. Again, very intelligent, ambitious. Go to the next slide. Girls in this huge old-style green army tent. So, those tents get really hot in the summer. You don't have no air conditioning. You have very little. Next slide, please. This is again the girls there. And of course, the older ones have started taking care of the younger ones. Lionel's vision is to open, his group is called the Oasis Foundation. His idea, Haitian idea, is to open essentially an orphanage for these girls, where you and I, or the mosque, let's say, could sponsor a child, right? $300 a month for food, clothing, shelter, education, medical expenses, all of that. But the children stay in the country. They get educated in the country. This means now that the brain power of Haiti starts to be built up. So instead of Caucasians or others taking them out of the country, his idea is to keep them in the country and to develop. Next slide. This is one of the young ladies, and these were some of the younger ones that she would look after. Next slide. This is Dr. Juke. Can you hit the lights one more time? I know I'm messing up your video.
No, you good, brother.
I'm good? Okay, all right. Dr. Juliette Malveaux, Bennett College for Women in North Carolina. She was on the trip and talked to some of these young girls. Imagine the trauma that they have suffered. And so if we don't care about Haiti, who will? If we don't care about doing something for our people and seeing in her, somebody probably can look at her right now and that look like your daughter, your cousin, your niece right there. Next slide. So this was the full group picture of the girls. And you can see, the rocks that they're standing on? That's actually a blessing. Because if they weren't standing on rocks, they would be on dirt, and when it rained, they would be in mud. Next slide. Again, the girls. So you see behind them, places being reconstructed. Now look at these tents. These are just, and again, they're blessed because many of them were in worse circumstances. So the idea was to kind of bring them together to try to protect them. They have, there's an older sister who's like a mother who cares for them and cooks for them. Next slide. Beautiful children. You can see the big green old army tent. So imagine being in there at 90-degree heat at 12 noon in the Caribbean. Next slide. That's what it looks like. Next. These are the bunk beds that they sleep in. They share this common space. But again, this is fortunate. This is fortunate. Next. We talked about the Haitian mindset enterprise. This is on the street of Port-au-Prince, where you see the art and the carvings. Again, everybody trying to do something for themselves. Next slide. This was the U.S. Ambassador for Haiti at the time we went in February. Held a press conference. And one of the things that he talked about was, I believe, for every dollar that the U.S. spent in Haiti, 5 cents went back to the American military. So imagine if you're spending $100 million and 5 cents comes back to the government. That's a substantial amount of money. Now, if the Haitians were doing that to their own people, it would be called a kickback. But since the Americans can do it, and very often, this is USAID, these are the people that work with the Red Cross, All these different organizations. Haiti probably has more nonprofits and quote-unquote relief groups than any country in the world. They call it the Republic of NGOs, or non-governmental organizations. Meaning all of these groups are there. Been given money, they're not coordinating. As a matter of fact, the problem, when we met with Mr. Delatour, he admitted to us that since the government didn't have the capacity, the government basically turned things over to these NGOs. It didn't have the money, it didn't have the communications. The money that's been promised hasn't been coming, and we see still the conditions have largely have not changed for our people. Next slide. Again, this is Cap Haitian in the north. A lot of activity. This is where some of the initial fighting broke out with the UN peacekeepers, right in this town of north. Next slide. You see the brothers on motorcycles? The motorcycles are a taxi cab. So you jump on the back. Well, I didn't jump on the back, but you jump on the back of the motorcycle and take you where you need to go. Some of them even offer you a helmet, but I wasn't trying to find out. Next slide. This is what Haiti looks like. And in my mind, for some reason, I thought it was flat and dusty. Right? Just Negro thinking, not having no research or knowledge. I just think it's flat and dusty. That's what I think it is. But no, and the name itself actually means like hilly, mountainous country. Next slide. This is all the way at the top. Do you see all the way at the top, like the fort?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the citadel. This is the road that you take to the citadel. Very important historical landmark. Next slide. This is some of the guns. This fort was built by the Haitians. It was built by Henri Christophe as Haiti tried to solidify her freedom. The guns were taken from the French ships. I don't think you heard me.
Yeah, right.
This mountain is like a couple thousand feet up.
Holy.
Now, if you try to get to the citadel today, you can only take a vehicle to a certain point. Then you have to get off and take a horse. That's today.
Right.
How did these people do this? And this fort holds thousands of people. Let's go to the next one. This is huge.
Beautiful.
Built by you people.
Come on. Right.
As Brother Jeff said from the beginning, the building of civilization.
Right.
Imposing, one of the wonders the United Nations has dubbed it, essentially one of the historic treasures of the Western Hemisphere. Next slide. This is again, it gives you some idea of the scale because you see the people and how huge the fort is. I mean, again, so as we think of Haiti, and I'm going to come back to this a little later, I want us to have a different picture and a different possibility in our mind. Next slide. Again, walking up the citadel, huge. Next slide. Again, inside. Beautiful. 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 Something I think we all need to go see.
Yes.
Marvelous. These are the cannonballs. And you can actually go see them today, just laying right there. Don't pick up none and take it home. I mean, but imagine you have the opportunity to experience such history right there. You know? Next slide. This is the Sanssouci Palace. This isn't in Rome. It's not in Eastern Europe.
Right.
It's in Haiti. This was the palace built by King Christophe. He was in the north. They had a republic in the southern part of the country. At one point in this history, it divided, right? Beautiful ruins. Next slide. Do y'all see these children here?
Yeah. Come on.
And they look better than my children. Well, my children go to MUI, so they look better than my children. Education is a premium in Haiti. This was the Haiti Support Project. They support education and other endeavors in a little town called Milo, which is at the bottom of the mountain. The citadel is at the top. Town of Milo is at the bottom. These are young girls. You see it? Look, I don't know if you can see. It looked like all of them got like the same number of ribbons in their hair.
Right.
You know, sharp. This is in the poorest country in Western Hemisphere. Next slide. Again, beautiful children. Each of them has a uniform that kind of represents their school or their age or their age. Next slide. Again, beautiful. See a little sister like, yeah, I'm here. The mountains in the background. They were welcoming the Haiti Support Project to Milo. Next slide. Again, an example of the handiwork of the Haitians. These are hats. So they do hats, straw hats. They do the artwork. Next slide. This is Haiti. This is a little hotel in Cap Haitian again in the north. It's got a pool. I didn't get in, but you know, nice little pool. I mean, again, these images that they give us of places where they tell you, I really don't think it's safe for you to go there. But yet they always there. They never leave.
Right.
Next slide. Again, as we look at the challenges of Haiti, I don't want us to be stuck there. Next slide. Because with the challenges come an opportunity. Next slide. So you see people working, doing something for themselves. You gotta respect that. Next slide. People, you got shoes all up along the fronts. My man walking a cow down the street of Port-au-Prince, the capital city. Next slide. Trucks, colorfully decorated, what you see. Next slide. Again, bustling with activity despite the problems. I mean, these are really, truly magnificent people. Next slide. Again, the sisters carrying stuff on their head. I don't know if y'all can do their head now. I know some of y'all can. I know you can. Next slide. The ingenuity of Haitians. This was in February. This sister's actually using the internet in the back of a truck. The brother had hooked up internet service. He did something. I don't know nothing about trucks. I'm right, but he did something in terms of the power source, where he was able to essentially run this internet cafe in the back of his truck. You didn't hear it. Internet, she on Facebook right now in the back of the truck. No, literally. Because when the communications with the phones went down, it was found that internet access was actually easier in a lot of cases. And since most of Haiti's income comes from outside of the country, from Haitians in the diaspora, again, people doing something for themselves, your ability to tap into Facebook or the email could save your life because you can get some help. Next slide. This is me with Ambassador Raymond Joseph, who's also Wyclef Jones' uncle. We had the opportunity to interview him in Haiti. He ran for president, and he was disqualified. And again, Haiti's elections are tomorrow. So we don't know how it's going to turn out. But obviously, when you've got over 1 million people homeless in the streets, it's a very volatile situation.
Right.
Next slide. So again, reconstruction. Trying to get rid of this rubble or lay it out. This dump truck was dumping it out, and there was a sister with a steamroller that was rolling it out on the ground. Next slide. This is from the Central Plateau in Haiti, where you have, again, these farmers that are doing different things to try to solve their own problems. In this case, they're using a technique imported from Brazil, where they're actually growing vegetables in old truck tires. The idea is that people will be able to grow their own vegetables to help feed themselves and to properly nourish themselves. Now, the funny thing the brother told me was, you can find tires all over Haiti. Old tires. He said as soon as they started this program, somebody started selling them old tires. They couldn't just get them for free anymore.
Right.
Next slide. Again, the beauty of children. And this is again in that same camp. This is in February. Next slide. This is the slide that I wanted to tell you about. This is again going up that mountain to the Citadel. And you see the baby, the sister holding the baby in a white? She looks exactly like a cousin of mine. I mean, exactly. So much so that I had to take the picture. If she don't look like Janet Felder from Baltimore, I don't know. Next slide. Again, the handiwork.
Beautiful.
The crafts. Next slide. Back to the Citadel. As we look at Haiti, I want us to see it, not only the challenges, but the opportunity. The Haiti Support Project is pushing something that they call cultural historical tourism. So you can actually go to Milo and you can actually experience this and have the opportunity to interact with the people. It's a wonderful experience, and I had an opportunity to go maybe 4 or 5 times. Thanks to the effort of the Mayor for a while. Next one. This is the horse you got to take up the mountain, or you can walk. I walked up, and halfway down I got on the horse. Again, the Citadel, beautiful, wonderful historical place and a wonderful. Would you like to go in and actually see this stuff?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the next slide, brother. Thank you. Again, a hotel room in Cap Haitian that I stayed in. It's got a bed, an air conditioner, some art, telephone. It actually had internet service. So, they had to deport me from Haiti because I was trying to stay. Next slide. Again, this is the patio. Next slide. Again, just to give us an idea that there's more than the misery. But whether or not these things become reality are connections of what we do, how we hold people accountable, how we organize, and how we connect.
Right.
As the minister talked about the need to reconstruct and rebuild Haiti and connect with our brothers and sisters from Haiti, to have them who are here, to have them lead the effort. Next slide. This is for the hip hop fans in the house. This is Kango Kid from UTFO, Roxanne, with their famous line, "Yo Kango." That's him. He's actually Haitian. Actually Haitian. Moved to New York with his family when he was young. I won't tell his story, but he's got a powerful story about how, as a young child, he learned it was not cool to be Haitian in New York, and he actually rejected that part of who he was. His mother, Dr. Daniels hooked him up with the tour. His mother had been trying to get him to come to Haiti. He came to Haiti, and they just loved him. They loved him, and he loved being home. Next. This is Kango at a voodoo site. Again, these wonderful places, cultural places that you can see and experience in Haiti. Next slide. Oh, excuse me. Okay, this is on the beach. That is Kango. I want the record to be noted that it's not Brother Muhammad. Now it showed you plenty of slides to Kango, so I don't want nobody right, "Dear Minister, your editor." But again, beautiful beaches in Haiti. There's actually a place called Labadie, which is a popular cruise destination. At one point, they would stop there and wouldn't even tell people they were in Haiti. Imagine that. Next slide. Again, young brothers in Milo, dressed in their school uniforms. Next slide. Again, just outstanding. And this is the future. And this is what we want to preserve, protect, defend, and promote right here.
Yes, sir.
Next slide. This is one of my favorite pictures. It was taken in the camp. And the little girl who was waving reminded me so much of my daughter. But do you see behind her? Look behind her up toward the top. You see that little blurred head in the background? Watching what's going on?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts of the picture right there. Yeah, you can wave to him, but I got a machete if he try to pick you up. Next slide. This is Warren Ballantyne is in the light color shirt. That's Kango Kid. Warren, we were all on the trip together. He's a big promoter of Haiti. I also do about 7 to 10 minutes on this show every Monday. And you can get them online if there's a local black. Y'all don't have a black radio station. I guess you got to pick them up online. TheTruthFighters.com. Next slide. This is a wonderful statue, downtown Port-au-Prince. It actually, the statue is of a man with a broken machete in one hand, and on the other side you see the broken shackles of chains, and he's holding the conch shell, calling the warriors to battle. This is the Haitian spirit. Next slide. This was again one of the churches in Haiti where they depicted all of some of the biblical scenes, but from a Haitian view. Unfortunately, this cathedral was destroyed in an earthquake. Again, a nice restaurant, the sugarcane plantation in Port-au-Prince. Next slide. This is Dr. Daniels all the way with the necklace, not the necklace, with the suit on. In the middle is President Laval, and the lady is Dr. Daniels' wife. Is that the last slide, bro? I think it is. Yes. So we can turn the lights on. And I'm going to close real quick. I'm sorry I took so long. I know y'all freezing for that. There's good food waiting for you. Wanted to say, for those of you who want more information, please stay tuned to the final call. And about 10, 15 pages. Because you know a lot of black people need information.
Right.
Mr. Farrakhan said that we got to stamp out a literacy so we can start with the final call. Again, see the FOI, they'd be very happy to accommodate you for all your final call needs.
Yes, sir.
But Dr. Daniels and the Haiti Support Project are looking at doing a huge cruise. It's called the Pilgrimage of Hope Cruise to Haiti in 2012. They're going to start organizing around it in January. They want to take about 2,300 black folks to Haiti on a huge cruise ship. On the ship, there'll be seminars, there'll be entertainers, you'll be able to vacation and get some knowledge and really enjoy yourself. Then there will also be projects where you will actually be able to do some things in Haiti to help our people. In addition to that, the immediate impact of 2,300 people coming to Haiti, the economic impact is profound because the average salary annually in Haiti is probably between about $380 and $500 a year. A year. So again, keep your eye out. I think that's it. We can turn. Did y'all turn the heat off because I was speaking? No, I want to thank you all for your attention. Sorry that I froze you out. Hopefully you stayed awake. We got some good food, but thank you. I would like to leave you as I greeted you, as I came to you with the green words of peace about someone. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
I don't know where y'all moving. Let's give Brother Richard another round of applause. I want to ask you all to do something special. We're going to do something special for you as well. First of all, I understand it was Black Friday. And when I heard about that, I was so excited because I told y'all that I'm still black. And I just know you went to Jackie and bought some stuff at that stuff, right? Black business owner right there, Jacqueline, right? So don't forget to spend some of your dollars in a black-owned business, you know? And then the second thing I need to let you know is that you have officially been a part of an illegal gathering. And we know somebody's gonna go tell on us. But the difference between then and now is we want you to go tell somebody about what happened right here. Because this is not happening everywhere. This is happening right here. And so we are going to give the last word to a very special brother. He said he wasn't going to say anything. And I said, okay. But he's going to say something. Because when you think about the Final Call newspaper, we have the Final Call News Hour. And Brother Herman Muhammad, who helped put this on, is always on the airways talking this type of sharing this information. I want him to come and then tell how we will proceed from here. So thank you all and give Brother Herman, Brother Richard, Final Call News Hour around the clock.
That's cold, man. So I just want to thank Brother Richard for coming out. I want to reiterate, brothers, thanks to the Mighty FOI for their carrying the boldest, baddest, blackest newspaper on the planet. And for those of y'all who do not know, the Final Call newspaper is the most widely circulated, black-owned and operated publication in the world.
Come on, man.
You know, so when you support the Final Call, you're supporting black business and you're supporting independent newspaper.
That's right.
You're not gonna find no liquor up in the paper. You're not gonna find no cigarettes. You're not gonna find no bad food up in there. You're gonna find righteous content all throughout. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and supporting. Thank you for continuing to support the Final Call newspaper and the Final Call News Hour. We're online on YouTube and on Ustream. As a matter of fact, if you hit me up, I'll give you my Facebook. You can watch this broadcast because we Ustream the broadcast live with Brother Richard. The slides came up good, even though we turned out the lights, so all praise is due to Allah. But I just want to thank you all, and you know, there's some food back there, so I'm not gonna hold you. Thanks again. Thank you, Brother Richard. Appreciate all of you.
Sisters first.
Oh, let me say this too. Let me say this. I want to thank the Mighty MGT.
Yes, sir.
Back there preparing the food. It's delicious. You guys are going to be totally satisfied. And let me say one more thing. We gotta thank this brother
That's right.
right here
That's
behind
right.
this camera.
That's
He knows what y'all know. And he is responsible for 99% of everything that you see going on here today. That's by the inside of Muhammad. You wanna come and say something to
We got to put